Who's the first person that comes to your mind when I say to you, spy? It's Toofty. Of course it is. You know, I've had a lot of nicknames in the past. I've been called the Spy God, the Backstab Master, the Chain Stab King. None of these are my words. And I've just hidden my talent from you for too long. It's just been too long. Might have been joking a little bit there. Might have been having a little bit of a joke. I'm a tad abysmal at spy, but I thought I had to be spy footage, right? Because we are going to be looking at 3 weapon concepts for the spy. I'm actually really excited about this. I love doing these videos, they're so much fun. And for spy, for some reason, I had loads of ideas. I don't know why. A couple of quick things to mention, as always at the beginning. 1, I don't necessarily think that spy needs new weapons. And 2, I'm not going to be talking about subtle, tweaky kind of weapons like plus 5% damage, minus 5% firing speed, or whatever. These are about big, interesting concepts. And I don't talk about stats too much. I'll mention that something might need buffing or nerfing to make this balanced, but I won't talk about the exact figures because I find that less interesting. But you know, I'd love to hear what you guys think, your feedback as we go through these. So yeah, some footage in the background of me playing spy. These are my highlights. Just imagine, these are my best bits. What were the bad bits like? No one will ever see them, okay? I've burnt them. Okay, let's jump in with the first one. Now, the very first concept is the dress to suppress or something. The names might need some work, okay? By the way, if any of you guys have awesome ideas for names, please let me know in the comments below. I know you've always got great ideas for puns and stuff, so I'd love to hear from you. But anyway, basically a silenced pistol. I like to think that it would have a very cartoonishly large actual suppressor on the end of this thing. Now this is a really interesting one, and the 2 main concepts I have are 1, you can shoot while still disguised, which I think is a really interesting concept. Now, I'm not sure why you'd want to do that because normally the pistol is used for finishing off and escaping. So to be disguised and being able to shoot seems weird. So it's not perfectly thought through yet, but I think I like the concept. The other thing this could do is actually just not show the direction at which the enemy is taking damage, if you see what I mean. Normally you get the little red bars, shows where you're getting shot from. But this one, because it's silenced, you wouldn't see those bars. So again, it would be less about using this for escaping when they know where you are. It's more about, I guess, maybe pestering the enemy, trying to get some sneaky shots and kill like an NG from a distance. I don't know, I just thought the idea was really interesting. And the downside would be, well, there's obviously you could do loads of things. You could do like damage reduction. But my understanding about actual real life suppressors is that weirdly it actually makes weapons more accurate and if anything more powerful. So the more realistic downside would be for like the weapon switching time to be reduced perhaps, or the actual speed of the spy moving around the map is slightly reduced, that kind of thing. That kind of fits more with the actual realistic nature of the gun, but I don't think it really matters too much, let's be honest. And there's one other thing you could do too, which I think is less interesting, but you could also have it not show names in the kill feed, not show the kills, right? But the problem with that is, in competitive, it would make no difference because you know when people are dead. That would only be useful for pubs, and even then, I don't think people are paying much attention to kill feeds in pubs. So I'm not so excited about that. I'm more excited about the idea of being able to remain disguised and, you know, take a few shots at an enemy, maybe distract them, maybe lure them away, and like I said, not have the direction at which you're getting shot at from show up on your HUD. Let me know your thoughts about the first one. Let's move on to the second one, guys. Okay, so this one I might be most excited about. I'm calling it the Lobster because it's genius. We've got a spy crab, and this is a throwing knife, right? So you lob it, call it Lobster, sorted, done. So we have a throwing knife. What does it do? I'll tell you what it does. Basically, this gives the spy the ability to backstab from a distance. Now hold your horses. That's ridiculous. Obviously, it would have some crazy downsides as well. But the idea is that, you know, when you're just out of reach, you're just like 2 paces out of reach and you're just desperately trying to stab that guy and you're swinging, this would help you close that gap and you could just throw it and take out that guy. And maybe you could throw it further, but it would have a horrendous kind of arc. It'd be really difficult to hit. Maybe if it hits them from the front, it kind of does no damage, bounces off them harmlessly. But I do like the idea of you could potentially do really long range skill shots. If you like aimed really high into the air and got it just right and it hit them in the back and you could still kill them from a distance, I think that would be awesome and possibly ridiculously overpowered. But the downsides, I hear you cry. What are they, Toofty? I will tell you. So I was thinking a suitable way to kind of make this a little bit more balanced would be to have the speed at which you can actually swing it or throw it is reduced quite significantly. So basically it takes away the spy's ability to do chain stabs. So if you've got 2 or 3 people in front of you, you can't go 1, 2, 3 all in a row, jobs are good, because he's got to sort of throw the first one and it takes him a while to sort of get out a new one. There's like a bit of a cooldown basically. And so it's more about taking out or assassinating that one individual target. Another tactic would be for you to actually hide a little bit back from as they come around a corner, you're in a bush, and you throw a knife out of it and you take them out. It sounds awesome. I don't know if it would work. That's not my job. I'm just throwing out cool ideas, okay? But again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you think of any cool knife throwing related puns, I'd also love to hear from you. Number 3 is the Supporter, which is a bit of a rubbish name. You know, I admit that's not great. You gotta let me know if you think of a better one, because I just gave up, okay? But it's a sapper, obviously. Now the way this thing works is, it's all about, very simply, sapping all the buildings at once. You throw this little projectile out somewhere near the buildings and it saps them all at once. But the downside is it does 0 damage. It just disables them for a short period of time. A bit like the soldier weapon, right? So the idea around this weapon is that it's all about a coordinated kind of push with your team. The spy throws his supporter down. He says, guys, move in now. All the buildings are sapped. And then your team comes in and destroys everything. I was also thinking maybe this thing kind of times out after a while. It actually just fizzles out after like maybe 5 seconds. By the way, it's a EMP, in case you're wondering how the science works. So we've got that covered. And some other things, it would need like quite a big cooldown, so you don't just spam it over and over. It has an area of effect. If you spread out your buildings enough, it won't actually get them all. And maybe also it could actually weaken them too and make them more vulnerable. So when the attack does come in, they're really easy to take out. And of course, the NG could remove it with a couple of whacks. If they find it, maybe it's got a little light and you have to actually go and find it and you sort of hear it or detect it somehow and you give it a couple of whacks and you can remove it. But if not, it just, after 5-10 seconds, it just comes off anyway. I don't know. I thought this was another interesting one. Again, it's like removing something big and juicy, like actually destroying buildings, but adding something big and juicy, like disabling them all at the same time at once. So I like these concepts where it's quite a big chunky change, if you see what I mean. I've probably overlooked a million things. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, I always do a bonus one. If you've watched this series before, there's always a bonus one, obviously. And today, it's only the Crabomatic 9000. What a beauty. So, you might be wondering what's going on here. Basically, imagine if a spy could turn into a building. Need I say any more? I don't think so. I know it's a little bit ridiculous. It's fine. It's actually very practical because what happens is you turn into the building, your health goes up ridiculously. You're super buffed. You're like just chilling there. People can whack you. You just act like a building. And then at the right moment, you come out of it and pounce, and it's beautiful. I know it's a terrible idea. It would be a very cool taunt though, I think. I think that would be a really cool taunt if the spy could turn into a building. I want to see that. Please make that a thing. That would be awesome. But actually, I did have a couple of other more serious bonus ideas because I just had too many for some reason for Spy. He's such an interesting character. So with Spy, disguising isn't really a thing you can pull off for very long because everyone's wise to it now, you know? So I was wondering if there are tools you could give the Spy to allow him to sort of blend in for a bit longer. So a couple of ideas I came up with. One, what if you could sort of right click and instead of going invisible, just for a second, you become transparent, as in people can walk through you, if you see what I mean. And bullets and stuff go through you, just for a short period of time. So what you can do is very smartly time that. So when an enemy's kind of spy checking you by giving you a whack, you hit right click, and just for a second, you're transparent, and he's like, okay, cool, you're not a spy, I'll carry on my way. The problem with that is obviously people would become wise to that as well and start hitting you for longer, but maybe it's a semi-short cooldown, like every 2 or 3 seconds, say, you can do this. I like the idea of trying to sort of blend in a bit better. You like cleverly time it to move through one of the opponents and make it look like you're part of their team, basically. Another thing which I think would be really awesome, a pretty simple thing to do, but what if you could sort of feign shooting your weapon as a spy? So say I'm disguised as a demo man, I can get my grenade launcher out and pretend to shoot it. Obviously it does no damage, it just sizzles, but it'd be another really cool tool for the spy to use to help him blend in and disguise. Again, I think this would just basically make people spy check differently, but at the same time I thought it was really interesting. And obviously the downside, I don't know what you'd get rid of. Maybe you'd get rid of the invis watch for the first one, and I have no idea about the second one, where that would fit in, what ability you'd remove to give him that. But again, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Okay, my last 2 bonus crazy ideas. What if there's a dead ringer where there's a fake version of the spy that ran off in a different direction? We've seen it before in other games, but that would be cool. And finally, what if you could do a backstab and it was like poison and it sort of spread it, but they didn't even know they were dying, but they were slowly dying, but they could spread it to their teammates, and it was awesome. I just don't know. Okay, I think I need to end the episode. Got a bit excited, okay? Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Support me on Patreon at this link. Follow me on Twitter at this link. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
We have taken the enemy intelligence.
1, 2, 3. Thanks, mate.